Hey everybody, it's Lindsay Whitmore here. Just wanted to share with you some of the stuff that I've been working on for my hybrid class. It's called the Gendered Body, and I'll be teaching it hopefully over the summer session. It's in Women's and Gender Studies, and the subtitle for the course is Sex, Pleasure, and Sex Work. So as you can see, I decided to work in e-college. I've had some success working in e-college before. I taught a hybrid course over the winter session that used this platform, and I found it really easy and sort of accessible, especially in terms of moving back and forth between the in-class environment and the online environment. So I decided to make a go of it again here. So I spent a good amount of time developing, the course home panel over here, which I'll take you through. Um, so in terms of syllabus stuff, um, I actually followed the syllabus that Sylvia had posted for us quite a bit, and made some tweaks of my own. But here we just have the meeting information, office hours, the course description, which has been pretty widely available before the class, posted on the WGS website. This element here, the objectives and the core questions, are something that I definitely worked out through our various learning outcomes assignments in the workshop. So I narrowed in on these 5 objectives. So analyzing the ways that we encounter, produce, and consume pleasure, explore the relationship between sex, pleasure, and political economy, describe the ways in which race, class, gender identity, and other modes of difference affect one's ability to do sex work safely, compare the way sex functions as labor in U.S. and transnational contexts, and theorizing the ways that sex workers across the globe collaborate on movements for rights and justice. And so with each of these objectives, I've also developed a kind of core question that I'm going to return to, in each week. And helpfully, the amount of objectives that I developed corresponded with the amount of weeks that I have in the class. It's a 6-week class. So as you can see on the left panel, I have organized the weeks according to sort of each one of these objectives. So the first week is more of an intro, kind of getting oriented week. The second unit corresponds to this first objective. Second one corresponds to the second one, and so on. So that ended up being actually a really helpful way to sort of organize my class that I definitely, came through some of the work of this workshop. So yeah, we have the objectives, questions, and then in terms of the texts for the class, I've just made notes about reading and other multimedia materials being available on the page for each of the units over here, and that in addition to these readings, I'll be posting a kind of overview, which I think I can see if I enter one of the units right now, in terms of how I've organized it. So in each of the units, they'll visit this page, see the learning goals. So this is the first one. See the key question, access the materials, so links to each of the materials here, and then to see the overview text, which is going to sort of situate some of the key themes and issues. And so I've used the little description here to kind of let people know what those overviews are going to look like. Let's see. So then assessment, something that I also definitely worked on developing through this workshop. Decided essentially to kind of divide the class into 3 different assessment categories: in-class attendance and participation, which deals with the in-class portion. Online portfolio, which is going to include discussion responses, weekly assignments. So that those are postings on the the discussion forum, weekly assignments and Tumblr participation, so that's 30, and then a final project, which, I kind of go into more depth here. So then on the syllabus, I sort of run through more specific descriptions of what each of these different assessment categories is composed of. So in terms of in-class attendance and participation, I sort of spell out what that means. The online portfolio, requires a bit more in-depth explication because there are 3 different components to this component, which I hope doesn't get too confusing. But essentially, discussion forum postings. One discussion prompt will be posted each week, respond to the prompt and comment on at least 2 other responses. Weekly assignments will be incorporated as well, which will include journal entries, web-based group projects, and other assignments. And then a shared Tumblr, which I've used in other classes several times before, and I've kind of got the logistics of this component worked out pretty well. So they're required to make 1 post to the shared Tumblr each week. And then the last component of the class is the final project. And so I sort of explicate a little bit here what that looks like. Then just some more of the sort of course details, academic integrity, disability support services, and then here's where the reading schedule will be posted. I haven't got that worked out yet. So next over here is the expectations and structure of the class. So this is a little bit more information on, what an in-class session will look like, what an online session will look like, and what the expectations for participation in both of those settings will look like. And then we've got in classroom environment and technology policy. So that's a little bit more about my sort of kind of philosophy of teaching, I guess. And then this also includes, the idea of limiting technology and cell phone use in the classroom and some of the reasoning around that. Then I've got a link here for support for e-college, including links for what the technical requirements are and where you can access the support. And then finally, I've got a link to Rutgers Library resources, including a link to the WGS research librarian, who I'm hoping to kind of connect them with for their final projects. And this is just a link to her page with contact info. So that's the course home. As I said, I've organized, all of these into units that correspond with the particular week. So this is the introduction kind of overview page where I've, given kind of a brief rundown of how things are going to run the first week of the class and provided links to the readings for that first week. And then I've set up a discussion prompt here where this is also sort of based on how Sylvia set up our class, but introduction forum, so letting people know name, major, what brings you here, 3 fun things. And I think I'm gonna try to pick up on what people post here in our first in-class session on Tuesday, so that they'll already have visited this, posted this, and then I'm thinking that perhaps we'll do the thing that we did with our introductions, where you have to sort of find something in common with other people. So in terms of organization, I've also included discussion forums in each of the weeks. I don't have the other kind of activities hammered out really for each of the weeks yet, but I do know that there will be some form of threaded discussion. So in each of these, I've at least set up a discussion forum that I can then fill out later. And I'm planning on modeling each of those units on this week's kind of layout that I've done here. One thing that I did do is add a link into the wiki activity that I've developed in our assessment exercise. So I've put some information here on what this activity is going to look like. I've decided to set up a wiki spaces account to kind of make this part of the class happen. And so you can see here, I've developed our own site, Sex, Pleasure, and Sex Work. This is the three, maybe more teams that I'll break people into. And then if you click on that particular team's page, then this is the wiki, the wiki that they'll work on building together. And there are some instructions here for how to kind of go about doing that. So I think that pretty much covers it. I'm gonna utilize some of these tools at the top, the journal tool in particular. For some of the weekly assignments, I'll be using the journal here. I haven't really figured out if Dropbox is super helpful or not, but yeah, that's what I've got going so far, and I think the work that I've done through this workshop has been really exciting and kind of materializing this class for me right before my eyes, which is a great feeling. So really open to any thoughts that people have. Thank you.